All right, good morning, boys and girls. Today is Tuesday, April 27th. And this week we've been talking about vocabulary in our third week of online learning for Unit 5. And today I'm just going to talk about 3 words that I think that you guys probably aren't super familiar with in this reading. So hopefully you have read and listened to our story for this week. You should have listened to it yesterday or read it yesterday, and hopefully you have done so again today. If not, go back and read it or read it again after you have listened to my lesson. And the 3 words that I am going to talk about today are just the 3 words that I think that are probably the ones that you will use the most throughout your life. I didn't really read a lot of words in there that I don't think are useful. Usually if there are words that I don't think that you'll come across a lot in your life, I'll just kind of like skim over those in our reading. We've done that before. And then the words that I think you guys probably already know would be words that I wouldn't even really, stop and talk about. There was a word in there like hilarious or words like dizzy, which you guys probably all put down as 2s or 3s in your writing, your ranking yesterday. So these words I probably expected you guys to all put down as 1s probably in your list, your ranking yesterday. So the words that I chose that I'm going to go over are genuine, procedure, and then the last one was nowadays. Now, the word nowadays is a word that I'm probably would have used and heard a lot as a kid, but it's not a word that you hear a lot today, I don't think. My parents probably use it, grandparents probably use it, but not a word that's super common anymore. So that's why we picked that one for this week to go over and to define this week, because it was a word that was probably very common years ago when I was a kid and earlier, but probably not as much anymore. So I'm going to start with the word genuine. Now, some of you are probably more familiar with the word genuine than others. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the definition that is on Wonders, and you guys can actually find these in Wonders as well. Like, they have them all defined in there. And sometimes Wonders does a really good job of defining them in what I call student-friendly language. What they mean by student-friendly is that when you guys read them, it's easy for you guys to understand. Because you know how sometimes you look up in the dictionary a definition and it doesn't really make it any easier to understand? Well, student-friendly definitions should be really easy to understand. Really simple, okay? So I'm going to flip it around, and they have a definition and an example. All right, so genuine. It says genuine, the definition or define it is something genuine is real or what it seems to be, okay? So an example in a sentence says, are these 2 paintings in the museum genuine or fakes? And I really like that definition, okay, because it gives you an antonym for it in it. If something is genuine, it's real. So the opposite of it would be a fake. Okay? So genuine just means to be real. So if I say someone is being genuine, it means that the way they're acting, they're being real. They're being real to themselves, or that their feelings are real. So I very much like that definition. Our next word is procedure. It says define, so its definition is, a procedure is a proper way of doing something, usually by a series of steps, okay? So if you're following a procedure, you're doing something in its proper way by following a series of steps, okay? Now, there is another definition of procedure that I want to talk about. If you go to the hospital to have a procedure done, they are following a series of steps, okay? But think about what a procedure is. If you're having a procedure, you're usually having like an operation, right? But the reason why it's called a procedure is that the doctors are following a series of steps when they're operating on you, okay? They aren't just opening up your stomach and going in there willy-nilly. They have a very specific set of steps that they have to follow in order to do that operation, that procedure. Does that make sense, guys? So even though you're thinking of it as it's a procedure being done on you, so it should have a different definition. In a way, you might think of it as a different definition, but it definitely is a series of steps that are being followed. Okay? Our last word is nowadays. Nowadays is a very, very simple word, and it simply means, as you would guess from how it is spelled, it means the present day. So it happens right now. Okay? And their example that they use is many people drive smaller cars to conserve gas. Nowadays, many people drive smaller cars to conserve gas. So if something is happening nowadays, it is happening right now in the present day. Okay? Very simple. All right. So if you get onto your learning calendar, you will see what your assignment is for today. And today is Tuesday. So I would like you guys to meet me at 1 o'clock online. And we can, if you haven't done so yet, share your writing from Friday and possibly do some Percy Jackson reading. We will see what we have time for. I'm looking forward to seeing you guys today.